We're the Pass the Time players, and we're here this evening to offer you a new story, Puss in Boots. Now, before we get started this evening, we'd like to invite you to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our stories. But now, let's meet our cast. My name is Debbie, and I will be the narrator.
I'm Timothy, and I will be Constantino.
Hi, I'm Tony, and I will be playing Puss.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and I will be the king.
And I'm Joe, and I'll be playing the Ogre.
All right, so now let's sit back, relax, and enjoy Puss in Boots. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a miller and his 3 sons. The miller was very poor, and when he died, he had very little to leave his children. Sadly, the day came sooner than any of the 3 sons expected. To his eldest son, who had worked alongside him at the mill every day, he left the mill. His donkey he left to his middle son, who had always seemed to have an understanding for animals and hard work. Now, to his youngest son, Constantino, he left his cat.
A cat? My father has only left me this cat? My brothers will be able to earn an honest life, but once I've eaten this cat and churned its fur into a scarf, surely I'll starve. I don't know what I will eat or how I will survive.
Now the cat, who had overheard his young master, jumped upon his shoulder and, rubbing himself gently against his cheek, began to speak.
Dear master, don't be sad. I'm not as useless as you think. I will make a fortune for you, if only you will buy me a pair of boots and give me an old sack for the mill. I'm sure your brother can spare one old sack.
Constantino had very little money to spend, but knowing that the cat was a faithful old friend, he made up his mind to trust him, and so he spent all he possessed on a smart pair of boots made of buff-colored leather.
Oh, thank you, master. You won't be sorry for spending all your money in these boots that fit me perfectly. Now I'm going to take that sack and go into the woods where a number of rabbits are, and don't worry, I won't be long.
Be careful. You are my loyal friend.
Oh, I will. I'll be back soon before you know it, and you will see. Things will go really well for you.
The cat went into the woods. He had a plan. He put some bran and fresh barley in the sack, and then he placed it carefully on the ground.
I'm going to hide behind these bushes and wait for these rabbits to come.
Soon, 2 little rabbits approached the sack and smelled the food. Without any hesitation, they hopped into the sack. The cat pulled the string on the sack and caught them.
Wow! Gotcha! Now I gotta go back to the palace.
When he arrived at the palace, he stood as tall as he could in his new shiny boots. He told the guard,
I need to speak to the king. I have something important to tell him.
Now the guard had never seen a Puss in Boots before, so he thought he should take him immediately to the king. The guard was sure that the king would be pleased with this extraordinary visitor. When they arrived in the royal chamber, the cat bowed and said,
Sir, my lord the Marquis of Carabas has commanded me to present these rabbits to your majesty with his respects.
The guard took the sack from the cat and showed the king the 2 delicious-looking rabbits inside. The king appeared to be very pleased.
Oh, please, give my thanks to the Marquis.
Yes, my king. But now I must take my leave.
With a flourish, the cat bowed before the king and left chuckling under his breath, for only he knew that the Marquis, of course, was really his poor master Constantino. The king ordered his chef to prepare the rabbits for dinner, and he and his daughter enjoyed a delicious meal. When the cat arrived home, he told his master all about the adventure.
Master, we will always have food on our table.
Thank you for everything you are doing for me.
The cat did not fail to keep the king and his courtiers well supplied with game. Every day the cat would stand before the king.
My king, this food that I bring you is from my lord, the Marquis of Carabas.
I thank him very much. He is a very kind man. But tell me, who is this strange nobleman who no one has ever seen, but who sent such generous presents to me?
You'll meet him very soon, I promise.
The cat decided it was time for his master to be introduced at court. So one day, he persuaded Constantino to go and bathe in a river, having heard that the king would soon pass that way.
Master, the water in that nearby river is so fresh. I encourage you to go and swim in there and feel refreshed.
That is a good idea. I will go do that right now. It's been a while since I was gone swimming.
So, Constantino went to the river with the cat beside him. He placed his clothes near a bush and jumped into the water. Oh, it was wonderful, just as the cat had told him it would be. As he was enjoying his swim, the cat hid Constantino's clothes, just as the king's carriage appeared in sight. The cat jumped into the road right in front of the carriage.
Help! Help! My lord, the master of Carabas is drowning!
Stop the carriage!
The king put his head out of the carriage window.
Why, it's the cat! Go quickly and help the Marquis.
While Constantino was being taken out of the water, the cat ran to the king and said,
"Some robbers took my master's clothes while he was bathing."
Groom, quickly give me the purple and gold suit from my royal wardrobe and give it to the Marquis.
Oh, thank you, my king, but I don't deserve to wear such fine clothes.
Nonsense. You look very good in them. Now I invite you to come to the carriage and ride with us.
I cannot accept that.
Oh, please do. My daughter and I will be pleased if you join us.
Constantino finally accepted, with some coaxing from the cat, and he sat next to the princess. She smiled at him so sweetly that he fell in love with her right then and there.
Coachman, go into that direction. The road is better that way.
Do as the cat says. Take that road back to the castle.
The cat ran on as fast as he could until he came to a field of corn where the workers were very busy. The cat again stood tall in his boots and said,
"Your king will shortly pass this way. If he should ask who owns the field, say nothing. I will tell him that this field belongs to the Marquis of Carabas. If you disobey me, you will be taken away from this land."
The workers were so afraid that the cat would keep his word that they promised to stay silent and only nod in agreement. Meanwhile, at the carriage,
Oh, this is a fine day, and you, Marquis, are a very pleasant companion.
It is an honor to be here with you and your precious daughter.
Coachman, drive slowly. I want to admire this beautiful country.
the carriage arrived at the cornfield.
Oh, what a fine field of corn. To whom does it belong?
Seemingly out of nowhere, the cat appeared and announced,
"To my lord, the Marquis of Carabas."
The king was impressed. Next, they met a herd of cattle, and again the king asked,
Now, to whom do they belong?
and again the cat announced.
"To my lord, the Marquis of Carabas."
Constantino listened astonished and thought what a very wonderful friend his dear cat was. Meanwhile, the cat had arrived at a castle which belonged to a cruel ogre who owned the lands the king admired. Puss knocked at the door. The ogre received him quite well because he had never seen a cat in boots before, so they started chatting.
I once heard, great ogre, that you possess the power of changing yourself into any kind of animal you choose. A lion or an elephant, for instance.
Well, so I can.
Oh, dear me. How much I would love to see you do it now.
The ogre was only too pleased to find a chance of showing how very clever he was, so he promised to transform himself into any kind of animal the cat might mention.
No, I'll leave that choice up to you.
Very well. I shall turn myself into a lion.
Immediately, there appeared an enormous lion, roaring and lashing its tail and looking as though it seemed to gobble up the cat.
Ah, this is terrible. I gotta escape.
The cat was really frightened and jumped out the window, managed to scramble up to the roof, though he could scarcely hold on to the tiles because of his high-heeled boots.
Come down. I will not hurt you. See? I'm an ogre again.
You're very clever. Of course, it was all very wonderful, but it would be more wonderful still if you, who are so great and fierce, that could transform yourself into some timid little creature, such as a mouse per se. That, I suppose, would be quite impossible.
Oh, not at all. One is as easy to me as the other, as I will show you.
And in a moment, a little brown mouse was frisking about all over the floor.
Now or never. You're mine now, and I'll gobble you.
And that is exactly what the cat did. At the same moment, all the gentlemen and ladies whom the wicked ogre had held in his castle under a spell became disenchanted.
Well, I need all of you to enter into the service of the Marquis of Carabas.
They were all so pleased to get rid of the ogre that they immediately agreed. So now the cat had a splendid castle with treasures. He then ordered a magnificent feast to be prepared and went to the castle gates to welcome his master and the royal party. As soon as the castle appeared in sight, the king said,
"Why, the castle is magnificent."
The cat, bowing low, opened the castle gates.
Please, your majesty, enter the home of the most noble, the Marquis of Carabas.
Full of surprise, the king turned to Constantino.
"Is this splendid castle indeed yours? Not even our palace is more beautiful."
Please, your majesty, come this way. There's a group of noble gentlemen and fair ladies waiting to receive you.
Constantino, or the Marquis as he was now called, gave his hand to the young princess and led her to the banquet.
Enjoy the feast.
The king and the princess enjoyed the evening. It all seemed so perfect. As the night progressed, the king noticed Constantino and his daughter growing closer. He approved. Long past midnight, the king felt it was time they should leave and return to their palace.
"Thank you, Marquis, my dear son."
Your Majesty, I know I've only known you for a short time, but I lay my heart and my fortune at the feet of your beautiful and precious daughter, my princess. I beg you, will you consider giving me her hand in marriage?
The princess, although very surprised, was very pleased and nodded her approval to her father. And so the miller's son married the king's daughter, and there was great rejoicing throughout the land. After a few days,
Cat, I will never forget all you have done for me. I owe you all my good fortune. You are my faithful friend.
Okay. All I want now is that meat and cream. And surely I will not run after any mice or rats, except for exercise and amusement.
And so they all lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoyed Puss in Boots. Now, before you go, remember to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we are the Pass the Time Players. Until next time, bye.